Alright, technical check. Believe that we should be ready to rock. And would you look at that? We are good to go. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another outstanding edition of the 2024 ARC Formula One America's Championship. We're here at Interlagos this evening. One of the jewels of the F1 calendar, always a track that is looked forward to. Joined in the booth, as always, by Billy Targi. Billy, how are we tonight?
Good. Excited to wrap up the season that we used to traditionally wrap up the real-life Grand Prix season with at Interlagos. Fan favorite, Alex. This place is an absolute treat to drive. It flows beautifully. It's one of those that hasn't really deterred from its original layout. So it's a well-known track and one that we almost lost, Alex, until recently we got re-signed. I forget how long, but it'll be on the calendar for quite a bit.
Aha. Interesting situation that we just saw there with
Whoa.
AJ Knickel in the AlphaTauri immediately plowing into the barrier on pit exit.
I was riding on board with not brights, and all I saw was just a tire rolling down the pit lane like a tumbleweed in an old western.
All right, so we are off to a start. We won't necessarily call it a great start, but it is indeed a start. One of the starts of all time, some may say. On board
His wheel
now
disconnected.
Oh,
Pulled the cord.
that is the worst possible timing. So that's an unfortunate end. As soon as it began to this qualifying session for the AlphaTauri of AJ Knickel, he will be starting from the back of the pack, barring any situations where other drivers are not able to put a lap time in. However, we are here now with, I believe, another newcomer to the grid, Not Brights here in the Alpine. But of course, we should fill you in on the goings-on of the league. We are here, of course, in the season finale, the final race of this first segment of the year. Of course, we will be having another series kicking up for F1 in the year 2024. Should be starting in a few weeks, I believe. However, it will be on the newly released F1 2024 game. Just came out the other day. Today, actually. However, if you pre-ordered Deluxe Edition, I think it was available to you as early as Tuesday or Wednesday. But yes, here in the final race, there's not really much to fight for. Cameron Lopez in the Red Bull has locked up the Drivers' Championship quite resoundingly last time out as well. And what a race that was. Oh my goodness, start to finish, the Red Bull. Cameron Lopez has really been on it this season, and of course he's been challenged plenty of times by the likes of Jackson Altman, Mikey de Jong, and plenty of others who have come, but he is the last man standing. There is no chance that anybody can score enough points tonight to overtake him for the championship. It is wrapped up.
Correct. Bow and a ribbon.
However, taking a peek at the
yes.
constructors' standings.
The intermediates.
It is, of course, Lopez and teammate Jackson Altman leading the way in the Constructors' Championship. However, Furta Boyce Racing holding down that P2 spot between Boryoshi and a mix of Tyler Crabtree and a few other reserves here and there throughout the season. Put up plenty enough performance to hold down that P2 position in the driver's standings. However, not too far behind. 23 points, to be specific, is the Williams team of Mikey de Jong and Aiden McCarthy. Mikey, pleasure to see him back on track tonight. He was well in the title fight for most of the season. However, he had other obligations that left him off the grid here and there, and he's just not been able to fight back to get enough points to contend with Cameron Lopez. However, he is just about locked up P2 in the standings for what it's worth. 12 points behind him in the driver's standings is Jackson Altman. However, I don't believe that margin will be overcome here in this final race. Mikey de Jong always right on it, no matter what track he shows up to, no matter what state that he's in. He's always the man with a plan. Looking now at some of the times as they've been coming up. We are led by George Knight on provisional pole, first driver into the 109s, followed by newcomer Not Bright's Aiden McCarthy putting a lap up, a 110. Not too bad of a lap for him. Jackson Altman seems to have just put a banker in, sitting on that 113 at the moment.
Well, he is on intermediates. If you pulled up your tire data, you could see him and Alexis
Heredia in the Ferrari, also opting for the intermediate tires. Very interesting choice here for the two of them.
Couldn't be drier out, Alex.
Yeah, kind of strange, to be totally honest. A few more lap times coming across, of course. Cameron Lopez first into the 108s. Next up is Jamie Knock with a 109.1. That's good for P3 for the time being. I believe the Haas of AJ Gonçalves, I believe that's how you pronounce it, will be coming across soon enough. Maybe not. It looks like he's ducked his way into pits. Oh, Matthew Stotts has not been here for the season the way that most of the other drivers have. However, when he shows up, he's certainly on it. About to cross now.
Ooh.
Billy, do you want to go around with a lap?
Whoa! Where did that come from? Tyler Crabtree.
Tyler Crabtree onto pole. So never mind. We will look for another chance to take you
Sorry.
guys for a lap around. Apologies. Billy showing some commentator bias.
No, that's just... it'd be the same thing if all of a sudden we just saw Ayrton Frederick go P1 or Jamie Knock. It'd be like, whoa!
Yeah. And Borgioshi
whoa!
immediately takes his teammate. Mikey DeYoung will be the next one over the line to start his lap. Bill, do you want to go around with him?
Absolutely. Defending champion, not some more knocked off for this year, but through turns 1 and 2 into 3 of the Senna S's. You want to keep it nice and tidy. Arc the car out wide. Don't touch any curb. He goes down to Retro Pasta into the Cita del Lago of 4 and 5. You want to take it out wide to keep the speed up. Be sure not to extend here. And this is one of my favorite parts of the track, Alex. Turn 6 and 7. You can just duck it in. Keep the speed up. And then, boom, heavy on the braking. Second gear corner. Don't want to get wheel spin. Important to keep the revs up, though, to just get that torque out of the corner. Ooh, runs a bit wide.
Yeah, nearly touched grass.
We head into turn... Oh, touch grass is what Mikey has been accused of not doing for a very long time.
Gotta be
So we
careful
get set
there. He
for
almost did.
12, and this little kink counts as turn 13. And then this little kink is 14. And then another little kink is 15, but it's going to be the line. This is going to be a good lap, Alex, but I don't know if it's... Actually, I think we're on for something here. Oh!
P2 in the time.
Whoa, I
being on
didn't
this
see
lap.
Matthew
It was
Stotts.
Matthew Stotts who beat him out for provisional pole. Would have been nice to go around to see a pole lap. However, Mikey DeYoung still fighting right up there. About 3.5 tenths off of Matthew Stotts for the time being, but of course plenty of time still left in this qualifying session. I believe about 10 minutes or so, yep. And Jamie Knock, I mean, for all the trouble that he had last season driving in the Alfa Romeo, he seemed to put it together a bit better this year, has had plenty of podium contentions. He's been on pole position, I believe, twice this year as well. However, currently sitting at P8 as he gets beat out by, I think, George Knight. And it seems like it'll be a race to the 107s. Which one of these front runners can make it into the 107 lap times the soonest?
Cameron Lopez. Shot in the dark.
I mean,
Just need 2 seconds.
there's a possibility that we could have a bona fide 6-way fight here tonight. Matthew Stotts and Mikey DeYoung always showing the pace. Borgioshi right up there with them. And Cameron Lopez, of course, our locked champion for this season, currently sitting P5. He will be fighting right up there with them. However, don't sleep on Mr. Jackson Altman, currently sitting only on his banker lap of a 1:13, the slowest time of any driver who's put up a lap thus far. However, he is always right up there fighting for the podium as well, and always being a super respectful teammate, especially to his champion teammate, Cameron Lopez. A lot of respect between those two drivers. Haven't seen too many incidents as far as, touchy situations and whatnot between the two. Team orders always come very smoothly, and they always have respect for each other in that manner.
Oh!
Uh-oh.
Round goes Altman as he gets ready to... Oh.
Oh, and
Oh.
that is
What
a
the
qualifying
hell?
session over. That was very strange.
What?
And for some reason, Alexis Heredia getting the penalty there. Of course, we caught that very clearly on camera. Jackson Altman just pulling from the side of the track sideways directly in front. Alexis Heredia had nowhere to go but into the side of that Red Bull, T-boning him. And unfortunately, the game deciding that Ferrari will need to be punished for it.
Caden Bright.
Okay, that is
not
Caden.
right.
Yes. Jackson Altman's day is done with only his banker lap to show for it. Of course, day in reference to this being a quote-unquote Saturday session, the race being just a few minutes after, of course, but... Yeah, and Alexis Heredia will be penalized for something that, to me, is very, very clearly the fault of that Red Bull. Just a rare miscue. A very rare mistake to that sort of magnitude from Jackson Altman.
Jackson said he thought he was ghosted because he was ghosted. Somebody else came through, and there's the 107.897 for Matthew Stotts. Yeah, he was ghosted. Someone else came through, so he thought he would remain ghosted, pulled onto the track, and
absolutely
got ghosted.
Ruined the chances for that Ferrari in the process, unfortunately. Just a silly move, if nothing else. Rather unfortunate, but as mentioned, Matthew Stotts improving first driver into the 107s with the 107.8. That puts him nearly 4/10 or so, nearly half a second clear of Boryoshi. It's really good to see him this far up in the pecking order. Of course, he's been a bit quiet this season. His average finishing position, I believe, is around 5, 6, or 7 usually. Just a bit of a quiet season. Of course, he's turning great laps over in the Gran Turismo 7 Endurance Series, where he sits at P2 in the driver's standings. Behind the famed Ridwan Hamza, of course. Always a pleasure to see those two racing. But yeah, for the moment, it is all eyes on the McLaren of Matthew Stotts yet again. He just has a knack for swiping those pole positions whenever he does manage to show out for these Friday night races. Everybody ducking their way back into the pits, waiting and just counting down until one of them bites first, at which point they will all go out for their final hot lap of the session. Only 5.5 minutes remaining, so 2 hot laps at most if you really push it. But most of these drivers just banking on one. Mikey de Jong there, purple through Sector 3, improves only slightly, not yet into the 107s. He will have to sit on that 108.046. However, puts him a slight margin clear of Boryoshi for the time being, and Cameron Lopez is just kind of licking his chops at the moment. Put in a good lap to advance a few positions in the qualifying order while we were following along, I believe, with Matthew Stotts. He now sits P4. Will, of course, be looking to improve from there.
What? Oh. I was so confused for a second. Sorry, I've just been trying to get my dog settled down. He's just not a happy camper right now.
So, 2 drivers already out of this session, and really by rather strange circumstances. Not something that you'd see any given week, I'd say. A wheel disconnect pulling off of pit road, and then also a mistaken ghosting situation.
We are not talking about not answering texts either. Shout out to Carter.
That will happen.
Mm-hmm.
Only a few drivers
and
out on
he
track.
He did not retire on the intermediates, as the screen says. Well, my screen says.
I think
he was on the softs.
The tire compound is relative. The tire compound, as it shows on the board, is relative to the lap, or to what you were on when you completed that lap that the time represents. So he was on his way to, of course he spun out and would have had to abort the lap regardless, but he was on his way to putting in a decent lap with the proper compound, of course.
Yeah, now Alexis Heredia has a penalty for that collision, which he could not avoid. So, was it 5 places?
Yes, it will be a 5-place
steep.
grid penalty for that Ferrari, unfortunately, yeah. A few more drivers making their way out onto the track, notably Tyler Crabtree and Caden Bright. Caden looking to make his mark, get into the points here on this final race of the season. Maybe raise his driver's stock come the next series.
Oh. Tyler Crabtree having an issue in 4 and 5.
Oh, and an invalidation there from Caden Bright as he does go quite wide at the tail end, or right in the middle of Sector 1.
Yeah, all they can do right now, much like Tyler Crabtree is doing, is just jumping on the brakes, storing that ERS, and then just, you gotta give it a go and not kill these tires right here. Luckily, they did it in the first sector rather, so the tires won't be too far fried.
Tyler Crabtree warranting a few yellow flags for a slow vehicle on track, but it is, of course, to warm up those tires for one more good lap. The time is certainly ticking down. Little over a minute and a half remaining in this qualifying session. If you are not already out on track, then you are not going to make it for another lap. Tyler Crabtree breezing his way over the line now will start this actual lap. A bit of a double lapper here for that Mercedes. Currently sitting P7 with the 108.7. Looking to advance. I could see him starting P5,
I think
P4.
Stotts just backed out of his lap.
Matthew Stotts
Jamie
on
Knock.
provisional pole. Jamie Knock.
Outlap.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, next across the line will be Heredia.
And this is really crunch time for the Ferrari. I mean, just looking to put in any good lap that he can. Of course, he will start 5 positions back no matter where he ends up, but respectable lap there from him, the 108.4, good for P6 for the time being. And I believe that is that will unfortunately be his final lap. He'll have to sit upon that 108.4 and hope for the best. Of course, Logan in the chat will be starting P11, barring any more changes in the grid. We should see a bit of shake-up here as we have about 20 seconds remaining in this qualifying session. Alexis Heredia making space there for the Red Bull of, I believe, Cameron Lopez, who is blazing his way through Sector 2, looking for that pole position, trying to snatch it straight from Matthew Stotts himself.
Just got his lap in. Jamie Knock will finish P5 for the time being. Who's the next across the line? It will be
Cameron
Red Bull,
Lopez.
I believe.
Cameron Lopez purple through Sector 2.
He's
This
up by a
looks to be a
tenth.
good lap, yeah. I don't know if this will get him
more than a tenth, though.
but
yeah,
this should start him on the front 2 rows, probably the second row. I believe he'll be able to get Boriyoshi here, and he does with the 108.1. About 0.3 faster than his previous best, but it's Mikey de Jong who squeaks it out for provisional pole here by 5/1000ths of a second over Matthew Stotts.
Yeah, but Stotts is on a good lap here. Stotts is going to make a run at pole here. This is going to be huge.
The final
He's going to get a slipstream up the hill.
Oh,
Alex.
He is that Mercedes giving him the perfect
It's
toe.
crucial.
Oh, and as he comes across the line, we wait with bated breath. It is good! By 5/100ths of a second. So Mikey de Jong got him by 5/1000ths. Matthew Stotts says, not so fast. 5/100ths of a second is good enough for pole position here at Interlagos, and the grid is set.
got they suck up the hill, and the rest is history.
Wow, things got real interesting real fast at the end there. Of course, Mikey de Jong turning out a lap as we would expect him to put him on pole position, but Matthew Stotts never count him out. Like I mentioned, I mean, anytime he's willing to show up, he's usually on pole position. More often than not, I'd say.
Alex, I want to see a season where it's fought out with Cameron Lopez, Mikey de Jong, and Matthew Stotts. Like, we all deserve to see that.
We do. The grid is set here in Brazil. Matthew Stotts will be starting in P1 alongside Mikey de Jong. The second row will be occupied by George Knight and Cameron Lopez, who will come home in P4. P5 and 6 going to Boryoshi and Jamie Knock. Tyler Crabtree will start from P7 alongside Alexis Heredia. Actually, no, he will start alongside Caden Bright. AJ Gonsalves and Aiden McCarthy will look to get the best of one another, with the rest of the grid going to, I believe that was Logan Cool and Aiden McCarthy, as well as, of course, the early retirement from AJ Knickel, which will put him at the back of the pack. And we are good to go here in Brazil. And I believe we will be straight to it with this one. Have not been doing a formation lap for most of the races this season, as the game just does not seem to like it. Lots of technical issues arise, we've found out, when a formation lap is performed, so best not risk it in most scenarios. I don't believe that we will be doing one here tonight. And we will not. We are... oh, I guess we will. Wow. A parade, a procession of sorts around the track. Formation lap for this final race of the season.
We've been doing them for like 5 weeks, Alex.
Have we?
Yeah. We see guys get disqualified for missing their grid.
Oh, this is true. Yes. Okay. Yep, I'm just... my brain must be a few races behind, but early in this season it was certainly troubling, as well as last season of the ARC Formula 1 series. Rather frustrating, the troubles that the formation lap caused, but it seems maybe the game has worked itself out to some degree. They will be going around once to warm up those tires, just get everything going, and giving a quick wave to the fans here on this final outing of the season. Billy, do you know if they still do drivers' parades on track in real life?
Yes, but they happen
With like George Russell
an hour and a half,
hanging out the back of a convertible with his shirt off and stuff. Yeah. Okay.
Sometimes you really don't see it in the broadcast, and I'm not 100% sure that it's like every race, but I know that we had one in Miami. You're 100%. You have one at Silverstone every time, because it's a lot of home base for a lot of teams. So, but yeah, they definitely do those. It's just you see interviews with people waving to the fans, the best fans.
So lining up here, and pay no mind to any disqualifications or whatnot that you may see here, as the game just kind of gets a little bit silly as everybody's lining up in their grid boxes. Seems to be none tonight. Everybody lined up exactly where they needed to be. Alexis Heredia dropping positions, but it looks like we are good to go here. And it's lights out and away we go here for the final race of the 2024 season. Series A, and Boryoshi immediately coming up the outside of George Knight for P3. Wow, what a move that was early on by the Mercedes. Matthew Stotts gets a good jump on Mikey de Jong. Not necessarily great jump, but good enough to hold the position for the time being. But Mikey de Jong is fighting early. He's looking to charge hard. He's right up in the tail of that McLaren.
We got trouble.
Oh, and it's Caden Bright who finds himself against the wall, missing a portion of his end plate there. Oh, unfortunate. Tyler Crabtree making the move here, trading places. Oh, and it there. Tyler Crabtree looking to make the move on the Ferrari, and George Knight just charging through, trying to take advantage of the fight as it was happening. Bit more change here as AJ Knickel makes his move around AJ Gonçalves. Good for P10 for the moment, back up into the points after starting from P15. 5 positions made up already for that AlphaTauri on this first lap. Oh, and I believe more issues here for the Haas of AJ Gonçalves. Yeah, down to P13. Oh, and of course, Tyler Crabtree will have to duck into the pits. Not sure what for.
Front wing change.
Oh, did he get tied up with Caden Bright?
Yeah. Caden Bright's also coming in. I mean, I'm not 100% sure, actually, if they got caught up with each other, but they both have
early damage on the first corner or two for those cars, unfortunately. Matthew Stotts putting a charge in here, however, Mikey de Jong doing very well to stick with him. Taking a look now at the tire detail. Yeah. And it's Matthew Stotts who opted for the mediums, but Mikey de Jong is looking to play the long game here on this first, and hard compound tires seems to have them already in the optimal temperature ranges. Of course, he's sticking right there with Matthew Stotts, about half a second behind. Boryoshi also opting for the mediums, and then Cameron Lopez also playing the long games. It's about, it looks to be one or the other for most of the way down the grid to P9, and then Logan Cool already up into P10, opting for those soft compound tires. Then medium for both Ayrton Frederick and Aiden McCarthy, and then hards the rest of the way down the grid. And of course, that has totally bungled the strategy of the Mercedes of Tyler Crabtree. I mean, he will just have to play the long game from here. Second to last position he now finds himself after being a contender for one of the front row positions all through qualifying. However, Mikey de Jong looking to make the charge here on Matthew Stotts, gets right up into the rear of that McLaren, however, gives him space, backs off with a decent margin. Still right in that tow, though, just letting him know he's there, waiting for him to make a mistake, I assume. And Boryoshi doing very well to stick right there with them, too. We may have ourselves a 5-way fight for the win here, as of course the Red Bulls of Jackson Altman and Cameron Lopez always show out.
Nope. AJ got a 5-second penalty.
A rare penalty. A rare 5-second corner cutting penalty. We only have seen a few of those this season thus far.
Must have been blatant. Must have, instead of spinning out, take the penalty sort of thing. But he will have to serve that on a pit stop.
He will, yeah. The steward's not being lenient for track limits there and giving him just a standard track limits penalty, going all the way with the corner cutting, unfortunately, for that AlphaTauri. Alexis Heredia making the move here on Jamie Knock. Up to P6 he goes, and he has put himself in quite the first few laps here.
Up 7 spots.
Yep, starting P14, I believe, after
13.
his penalty assessment. So then he's up 6 spots.
AJ's up a lot of spots as well. It's unfortunate for the trouble.
Yeah, that penalty is really going to hurt him as far as fighting for this back half of the point scoring positions goes. AJ Knickel, not usually one to be fighting for the win, however, a consistent driver if nothing else. Certainly has what it takes on track to bring it all the way around any given race and do so cleanly and comfortably. Has plenty of points this season, however, has not been able to put it together well enough to end up on the podium at any point this year. Things may change for him, though, come the new season, which will be starting in a few weeks.
Cameron and Jackson did the switch. Jackson's kind of...
I believe they both opted for the hard compound tires. No, they did not. That is a smart team call there, as Jackson Altman is on the mediums with Cameron Lopez opting for the hards off the start.
Oh, there goes Mikey.
Mikey de Jong making his move early here, lap 5. I mean, he waited, he was laying in wait behind the McLaren of Matthew Stotts for the first few laps, but does make his move. Matthew Stotts right up there, maybe 3 feet separating the back bumper, or the tail, I guess. There's not really any bumpers on these cars, is there?
The gearbox.
About 3 feet from the gearbox of the Williams to the front wing of the McLaren on that previous corner, and right up there again he goes. Boryoshi just licking his chops. looking to make a move if there's any mistake to be made. Him and Jackson Altman are both keeping right up with these two. And as mentioned, I mean, Cameron Lopez right there with them as well. Alexis Heredia making his presence known back there in P6. We have ourselves a bit of a DRS train for the first 6 or 7 positions or so of this race. Matthew Stotts now with some DRS assistance making his move back around Mikey de Jong, playing a bit of leapfrog and back up into the lead of this race goes the McLaren. Mikey de Jong now making a bit of a gap back to Boriyoshi, currently P3. Oh, and with the DRS assistance himself, Mikey de Jong makes the move up the inside of the McLaren. Oh, big twitch there. Tokyo drift. He saves it. Oh, my goodness. I believe there was contact there as we saw the driver model of Mikey de Jong throw his hand up in frustration. And Matthew Stotts getting hit with a crucial 3-second time penalty for track limits violations. As always, those penalties are assessed after your 3rd strike. That is a 3-strike policy. So Matthew Stotts already getting all 3 of his strikes and getting a track limits violation penalty for it. He will be riding on eggshells.
The rear's twitchy on the McLaren. This is going to open the door for Boriyoshi.
Oh, it is. The Mercedes in P3 looking to make the move with DRS assistance. And I believe quickly into the pits goes Matthew Stotts. Not too sure the call he's making there. However, that leaves Boriyoshi to fight here for the lead as he just basically swaps positions with Matthew Stotts, as close to Mikey de Jong as Stotts was. And the Red Bulls just licking their chops as well. Oh my goodness, everything is working in the Red Bulls' favor at this point. I believe that's AJ Knickel, maybe?
Might have been.
Not too sure. I only had eyes on the board. I was not looking towards the back of the pack, just based on the position changes. I believe AJ Knickel may have had a bit of an issue there.
AJ.
He does. Both of them sitting on penalties, of course, the more detrimental going to the AlphaTauri, but for the time being, Matthew Stotts has 3 seconds that he will be sitting upon come the end of this race. Could play really detrimentally for his chances at a podium.
Look at this top 5.
Yeah,
you can throw a blanket over them all, Alex.
As mentioned, I'm pretty sure we will have ourselves a 5 or 6-way fight for the win here at Interlagos, as Matthew Stotts was in the running, but now sitting upon that penalty. Boriyoshi making his move, leapfrogging the Williams of Mikey de Jong up into the lead, gets a bit of a bump there. Mikey de Jong into the rear of the Mercedes.
Mikey's going to have the DRS here.
He will. They are alongside each other up the inside. Oh, and Jackson Altman looking to get a piece of the pie himself. Oh, he takes a peek up the inside, trying to follow Mikey de Jong through. However, not quite enough space. He will have to bide his time and wait his chance, as Mikey de Jong does make the move on the Mercedes of Boriyoshi. And it's an early retirement here, unfortunately, for the AlphaTauri of AJ Knickel. Yeah,
the VSC.
I think that he may have had himself a bit of an issue. We will be following along with Tyler Crabtree as he comes up on the scene of the crime.
Car gone.
It looks like the car has already been removed from the track.
It's important to pay attention to deltas here. Don't want to get caught out with a drive-through.
Of course, yeah. Must maintain, what is it, 40%?
I don't know, but I'm scared for one of these top 5s to get one, you know?
And I mean, if Matthew Stotts is able to pull it together, penalty or not, he will be fighting here. Jackson Altman with the early pit stop. I believe he's on the medium compound tire. He's on the... Yes, he is on the medium compound tire. Teammate Cameron Lopez opting for the hard. Now up to P3, playing the long game on the leaders. However, Mike de Jong, of course, as mentioned, also on those hard compound tires off the start of this race. So it's basically a shootout. Playing the long game, hards to mediums, I would imagine, for those two. The Red Bull of Cameron Lopez and the Williams of Mikey de Jong. Boriyoshi just kind of caught in the middle. It'd be interesting to see what he does come the end of this first stint.
BSC ended.
Yeah, Jackson Altman getting spit back out into P5. Did not lose too much for it. No trouble for him, as he will be able to breeze past probably the Alpine of Jamie Knock, and then he'll be right back up onto the tail of his teammate, who I assume will be making space for him.
Cameron Lopez with a bit of a twitch there. Oh, Alexis Heredia also pit. I did not notice that. I was just...
Oh, I didn't even see a pit indicator come up for him. Apologies, but it looks like Alexis Heredia has also pit, taking a look at the tire detail to see what he opted for. It's the hards. He will be playing the long game from here. And
What's
safety
happened?
car is out for George Knight. Oh, the Haas has found himself a spot of bother, it seems.
Lewis Hamilton crashed there in qualifying back in 2017.
Is this the Senna S's? Is this...
No. That
Okay.
is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's 4, 5, 6, 7.
You know, I
Out of
could have...
7.
I've never understood it, because I could have totally sworn, you know, the S-shaped
Terra
portion
Dura.
of the track would be called the Senna S's. I've never really learned the track names here in Brazil. Kind of a situation...
Senna S's are 1 and 2.
Are they?
Yep.
That is... So not the
The
actual...
Senna S. It's not an S's, it's the Senna S.
Oh, so that is very strange to me. I would assume that the actual S-shaped portion of the grid would be called the Senna S's, but I suppose not. Jackson Altman making his way up into the lead of this Grand Prix over Mikey de Jong before the safety car was instituted, so it will be on the go of Jackson Altman once we are back fully stacked up. Of course, a few drivers ducking their way into the pits, Ayrton Frederick in the Aston, as well as Logan Cool and Tyler Crabtree towards the back of the pack.
It's absolutely huge for Alexis Heredia and Jackson Allman. They pit.
It really is. Oh.
I mean, they obviously didn't know that there was going to be a full course like safety car, but I mean, hey, you got to make your own luck sometimes, Alex.
I mean, let it be known, Alexis Heredia taking a totally unfounded and faultless penalty. There was nothing he could have done to avoid the situation in which he ended up taking a 5-place grid penalty for the start of this race. However, has made his way up 10 positions already, about a third of the way through this Grand Prix, up into the podium positions, and he will be fighting for them the whole rest of the way. I fully believe it. So, as we wait for the grid to stack back up, I believe we will be behind the safety car for at least one more lap. It will depend on how quickly Tyler Crabtree is able to catch the back of the pack, which I believe he'll be able to do towards the tail end of Sector 2, but at that point, will it be with enough time for the safety car to duck its way in? We shall see.
It got dark out.
Oh, it did. Rather quickly. The clouds
Not quite
moving
Brazil last year qualifying, which was just ominous.
Clouds looking somewhat ominous, but it did get dark real quick here. Yeah, now that you mention it.
And we get a track limits violation under safety car. A bit of a questionable penalty to take there.
Yeah, interesting line to take under the safety car. I mean,
how you get fired on your day off?
Oh, and with the track temperature cooling down by probably more than a few degrees here with the current change in weather, I mean, will this play into the hands of any one specific driver? Will it change anybody's strategy? I don't believe so. However, certainly interesting to
help the medium
note.
tire runners.
Safety car will be in this lap, as Tyler Crabtree did manage to catch the back of the pack beforehand, before the timing point, so it will be on the go of the Red Bull of Jackson Altman, and he is, he's not weaving, he's not warming his tires, he's looking to make just a straight drag run here, it looks like, on the Williams of Mikey de Jong, letting him get
Mikey's
real
not going to let him
there.
go.
Mikey's not looking to let him go one bit, and Jackson knows that. Jackson's looking to catch him sleeping, but Mikey is not one to be caught sleeping. But Alexis Heredia does catch him sleeping. Up into P2 goes the Ferrari, right into the tail end of the Red Bull, but Mikey de Jong fighting back hard. Around the outside he goes, Alexis Heredia backing out. Oh, and what a restart there. Mikey de Jong, I caught a bit of a commentator's curse saying not one to be caught napping. He kind of did there. Still right up in the back of the Red Bull. However, Alexis Heredia had such a good jump on him. Alexis Heredia reading the Red Bull so well there. Boryoshi kind of getting hung out to dry, if only for a moment, as Cameron Lopez is right up into the tail end of that Mercedes now. Fighting for P4 at the moment. Up the inside he goes. Oh, what a move. Oh, the risk on the inside now. Boryoshi, a bit of contact there, just some wheel banging. The back wheels of the Mercedes alongside the front of the Red Bull. Oh, and he'll have to concede the position. And that was quite a move there from Cameron Lopez, forcing him a bit wide. Oh, and up into P4 goes Cameron Lopez. Jamie Knox squeezing his way through that trouble as well, up into P5. Boryoshi losing 2 positions on one corner, unfortunately.
You will not be happy about that.
Mike DeYoung making his move here for the lead of this race, it should be mentioned, of course, in that downtime. Well, I shouldn't say downtime. It was rather quite exciting watching Boryoshi and Cameron Lopez duking it out. But while they were doing that, Mikey DeYoung leapfrogging Jackson Altman for the lead of this Grand Prix. Jackson Altman looking to make the same move. Takes a peek up the outside, but tucks back in.
Jackson's very quick today.
By request from the chat, we will be taking a quick peek at the tire details. Our first two, Mikey DeYoung and Jackson Altman, both on fresh-ish medium compound tires. I believe the only driver not to pit is George Knight. A healthy mix of mediums and hards as you look down the grid, though. Alright, and now back to the action. Mikey DeYoung has already worked himself out about a half-second gap to Jackson Altman, but of course, all that will be erased come the front stretch. No DRS assistance as we are only 1 lap off the safety car, but now it will be enabled for this lap. Lap 14 we find ourselves on. Jackson Altman doing so well to keep right into the tail end of that Williams, dropping Alexis Heredia by at least some margin. Tucked right into that toe is the Red Bull. Alexis Heredia a bit farther back, so a bit in dirty air. However, with DRS assistance, he does manage to make up a bit of the gap, but he's got Cameron Lopez breathing down his neck within half a second of him, and Jamie Knock also should be mentioned within half a second of Cameron Lopez as well. Boryoshi falling off by just a slight margin, now outside of DRS range of Jamie Knock in P5. And it'll be an uphill battle, unfortunately, for that Mercedes, who was racing so well, led a lap or two of this Grand Prix already, and then just ran into some racing incident-type trouble with the Red Bull of Cameron Lopez. No damage to the car, it seems, but still, it has bungled his chance, at least for the next couple laps. Now, will Jackson Altman look to make the move on Mikey DeYoung? He will not. He will tuck right back in behind the Williams as they make their way through the first turn and the second, weaving their way through the tail end of Sector 1. Oh, Jackson Altman taking a peek up the inside, has the DRS assistance, certainly has the pace, and does make it happen. Mikey DeYoung smartly not challenging too hard there. Both of them operating on the same compound, the same strategy at the moment, pitting on the same lap, so it is fair game as far as the two of those are concerned. Cameron Lopez looking to take a piece of the pie, though, right there within DRS range of Mikey DeYoung, looking to assist his teammate if possible. If he can get up into range of making a move. Oh, a big twitch there. A big twitch there from the Red Bull of Cameron Lopez. Does manage to recover it, however. He will be dropping fast, now outside of DRS range, but fluttering right around the edge of it, actually. He will have DRS assistance through the timing point as they come down the start-finish stretch. And let's see how much time he can make up because of it. Does not seem like it will be too much as he's actually dropping further and further back from these lead two. Mikey DeYoung now right up on the tail end of that Red Bull. And Jamie Knock, yes, making his point heard very much so in the Alpine. Currently P4, but he used that DRS assistance to shorten the gap to the Red Bull of Cameron Lopez in front of him by quite a margin. However, Alexis Heredia is looking to fight back, as we see another track limits violation penalty being assessed here, this time to the Alfa Romeo of Logan Cool, unfortunately.
Yeah, ever since Stott's got that penalty and then Pitt, he's just didn't recover well.
It doesn't seem so.
It's
However, I
been
mean,
a battle.
all of these drivers in the top 8 at the moment have shown the pace to fight for at least the podium at like the bare minimum. So, I mean, we may very well have a 8-way fight for 3 positions, as Tyler Crabtree, of course, all through qualifying, showing plenty of pace. He favors this track by quite a large margin, and I believe that Mercedes will be fighting his way back up with Stotts soon enough.
Oh, what was that?
Jamie
Knock
Knock!
is
Oh, he's way wide into turn 1. Oh, he outbroke himself, dropping positions like crazy. Boryoshi, Alexis Heredia, and Matthew Stotts taking advantage of that mistake.
Yeah, Mikey DeYoung like backed off to not go by Jackson Altman there, maybe get him down the first technical DRS zone, and Cameron just dove to the inside, had a peek, and then I just saw in the background a blue streak of an Alpine.
Cameron Lopez now right up into the tail end of the Williams of Mikey DeYoung, and he's looking to play ball here. Oh, and if nothing else, he just wants to hold up Mikey to allow Jackson to run free for a few minutes. Already locking up the championship. I'm sure a win would be nice here, but of course, knowing Cameron Lopez and just the type of guy he is, I'm sure he would be just as happy to see Jackson Altman win because of his hard work playing defense on Mikey DeYoung. However, Mikey taking a look here, and it will be enough with DRS assistance up the inside in turn 1 on Jackson Altman, back up into the lead of this Grand Prix, and it is now teammate versus teammate. Jackson Altman and Cameron Lopez, one another right there with each other. Alexis Heredia just kind of in the background, but not too far behind, looking to take advantage when he has the moment to. Oh, and it is absolutely game on as we see Jackson Altman right up into the gearbox of that Williams, making his presence known. Oh my goodness, and he's just looking to drag Cameron Lopez up with him for the rest of this race, probably. Already on lap 18, only halfway through this Grand Prix. Oh my goodness, it's moving by so fast, so much action.
Oh, huge twitch from Jackson.
Oh, and that has given Mikey DeYoung some room to run. Even with DRS assistance, I don't believe that Jackson will be close enough to make any move.
Yeah, you don't want to get him
too
here,
far
though.
back.
Because if you get him here, you're sitting duck for the next corner. You want to instead of passing into turn 1, you want to pass into turn 4.
Yeah, on the back stretch with the DRS assistance seems to be the spot where these drivers are making their moves stick the most. Jackson Altman biding his time, understanding the situation, taking a peek up the inside alongside the Williams, and he will be on the inside line. Mikey DeYoung tucking in behind him, but oh, they are playing so close. Oh my goodness, margins so small here for these two drivers. Mikey DeYoung maybe making contact there with the rear end of the Red Bull, just kind of nudging him along, letting him know that he's right there. These drivers showing plenty of respect for one another, though, not really forcing each other off to any margin. You know, barring the situation with Cameron Lopez and Boryoshi about 8 laps ago or so. And Alexis Heredia.
Too, there could be something post-race for Jackson Altman with that qualifying incident, you know?
Yeah, that is also true. Oh, of course, the stewards may be having a look already at that qualifying incident, trying to determine what will be happening because of it. Alexis Heredia doing so well to keep up with these top 3, though. These are the 3 fastest drivers that we've had on the grid this season, and Alexis Heredia is making his presence known, just sticking right there with them. Already dropping Jamie Knock by quite a margin. Nearly 2 seconds behind is the Alpine. Now over 2 seconds with Boryoshi threatening. Looking up the outside of Jamie Knock, and he does make the move happen for P5. And he will be coasting along, looking to catch the tail end of that Ferrari. Oh my goodness, closest margin between any two drivers on track, though, is that of the lead of this race. Mikey DeYoung only about 2/10 ahead of Jackson Altman for the time being. Game showing 4/10 at the moment. Yeah, a bit of leapfrog going on here up at the front. Mikey DeYoung and Jackson Altman just kind of using DRS to to leapfrog one another throughout most of the first 20 laps of this race. However, Jackson Allman a bit too far behind on the stretch here to make a move on Mikey DeYoung, it seems. He will be most likely tucking in. Oh, he takes a peek up the inside, but thinks better of it. Tucks back in behind the Williams into turn 1, and it will be a procession once again. However, Cameron
He's going to get a run.
Oh, he's going to get a big run here. Much better exit through turn 4 than Mikey DeYoung. With DRS assistance, gets a peek up the inside, gets alongside Mikey DeYoung, smartly backing out, understanding the situation, and looking to pull a switcheroo. However, not quite enough space for him to do so there, especially with Cameron Lopez threatening the way that he is. And don't count out Alexis Heredia. I'm going to keep saying it, I promise you, because that Ferrari is right there with these top 3. Boryoshi making up the gap to the back of P4 slowly but surely. We may see him in this fight soon enough. Got a bit of a DRS train up at the front here. They're just kind of pulling everybody further along ahead of the rest of the pack.
Somehow reminds me of Talladega. I know it doesn't make sense, but it does at the same time.
It kind of does, yeah. Especially the way that the front stretch and the back stretch are spaced out. Like, those are really your only 2 opportunities to gain any margin on whatever car is behind you, especially when you have a DRS train where the first car after the train is well out of DRS range. I mean, you're just banking off the toe of the car in front of you, and with that alone, you can move up quite a bit, extend that gap by quite a margin. Already nearly 2 seconds back to Boryoshi from P4. Alexis Heredia doing so well to stay right there in DRS range of these title contenders any given week. Of course, having been locked up already by the Red Bull of Cameron Lopez. But, I mean, these are 3 drivers in the top 3 that we would expect to be on the podium just about any week. Fighting for the win, even, I'd say. Like, these are 3 drivers that are usually duking it out for the win. Mike DeYoung, of course, when he shows up.
Yeah, you gotta show up.
You do gotta show up, and, you know, I totally respect him. Mike DeYoung.
This is looking good for Cameron.
This is looking bad for Alexis Heredia, who has now fallen out of DRS range of these lead 3. However, will be probably absolutely sending it into turn 1 to catch the tail end of them, and he is back within DRS range, if only for the moment. We will wait to see as they come through turn 4 now, and he is, yes, he's well within DRS range. However, every car ahead of him, besides the leader, Mikey DeYoung, also has DRS. Jackson Altman making his move up the inside there on the back stretch. Mikey DeYoung once again backing out, and it is just a game of leapfrog up here. Cameron Lopez biding his time. I mean, he's just been sitting back and letting these 2 play it out for the majority of the last 10 laps.
Yeah, this race is going to come down.
Something?
Who's going to... Oh, Jackson Allman lost a bit of the rear there.
Oh.
This race is going to come down to who's going to beat who to turn 4 and 5. That's it. They're going to come through turns 1, 2, and 3. And whoever's in the lead exiting 3 going down that backstretch is essentially going to be a sitting duck into 4, Alex.
Yeah, I totally agree. I mean, the racecraft between these top 8 drivers, every driver...
Watch,
P1
Mikey's going to let off.
Mikey
what?
Oh, it's an early pit there for Jackson Altman on the medium compound tires.
And he's speeding.
Oh, and he will pick up a 5-second penalty that I'm sure he will be serving.
Oh, Boryoshi.
He will not be serving it right now. Oh, Boryoshi. Oh, and the early exit. Oh, I'm sure he understood the situation. He probably could have stuck around for points.
He got hit again by somebody.
Boryoshi got hit on pit lane?
Yeah, there was a wing change happening.
Well, he has retired, so I'm not too sure what's going on there. However, back out onto track, our leaders, Cameron Lopez and Mikey DeYoung, with Alexis Heredia still right there. It looks like he's also ducked his way into the pits. Oh, no, he has not. He has not ducked into the pits. Oh, okay, so it was Jackson Allman now opting for the soft compound tires with about 12.5 laps remaining for the Red Bull. And it's just a fight to the finish for him from here. he will easily make up P6, and then it'll be a fight from there for one of the podium positions. However, Alexis Heredia holding it the freak down, I must say. Oh my goodness, this performance from the Ferrari that we've seen thus far tonight has been just absolutely crazy. It's been so great. And of course his
He's in there with a
teammate,
shot last week as well.
yeah, I mean he came into the league I think a few races into the season, and he was looking like a middling type driver. You know, he was well into the points any given week, usually finishing around P7 or P8. But I mean, Interlagos seems to be his track if nobody else's, because he is firmly in the final podium positions, now about a 3-second gap back to Matthew Stotts in P4, who himself is sitting on that penalty, don't forget. 3 seconds for track limits violations.
Yeah, no. Jackson Allman's got a 5-second on top of anything that could come post-race.
And I
Because you
believe,
can't serve it. If you get the 5-second penalty entering the pits, you can't serve the penalty immediately. Oh, and what's happened to Mikey? Mikey's falling out of DRS range. You might see him duck in here. Wait for, what do we got? Nope.
no, he will be staying out. He just takes that line through the last corner so tight to the pit lane that sometimes it can be hard to tell. But he has made up a bit of the gap here, well within DRS range. About 4/10 he's made up just through the last 2 or 3 corners. And of course, our championship leader, our champion for all intents and purposes, Cameron Lopez, I believe that is his first lap led of this Grand Prix, lap 25. Now on lap 26, and he's looking to make a run on Mikey de Jong the best he can, trying to do what Jackson Allman could not, and build out enough of a gap for Mikey de Jong to not really threaten, at least for the next few laps.
Cam was just waiting patiently behind those two, just biding his time,
Yeah.
taking care of the tires. I believe that's ultimately going to work for Cam here too, so.
Oh my goodness, this is shaping up to be quite an exciting finish. I mean, as I've been saying just about this whole race, there's 8 drivers, I would imagine. Well, 7 now with the retirement of Borioshi, unfortunately. Oh, as Matthew Stotts picks up another 3-second violation. Oh, and it's just a tale as old as time, unfortunately. Matthew Stotts always showing out with the Saturday pace, but come Sunday, it's always one thing or another for him, unfortunately.
Correct.
It seems that Matthew
the
Stotts
battle,
virtually is the equivalent... Oh, excuse me. Matthew Stotts in the virtual form seems to be a bit of the equivalent of Haas in the real form. The Saturday pace, but not the Sunday.
It's a string of bad luck. When he finishes a race, I mean, that race at Canada, we saw pole position knocked down to 9th, clawed back. I don't want to say battle, clawed back to P3. So
Certainly
he's also on
shown...
20-lap old hards.
Yeah, this is also true. He'll be looking to make a duck into the pits soon enough. About 7.5 laps remaining here in Interlagos.
At this point, he can't really afford to.
Yeah, I mean, if not for the softs, it's like, why would you? He would probably be kicked out in P7 with a tight uphill battle back to the podium. Of course, needing to pass Jackson Altman and Tyler Crabtree along the way, who themselves have shown plenty of pace thus far in this racing weekend, for lack of a better term. But
I don't know
Mikey
if it's
de Jong,
worked out for Jackson, though, with the softs. His mediums were only 14 laps old, so he ducks in.
It's tough to say. However, I mean, Jackson Altman, he has shown time and again throughout this season that he is one of the more skilled drivers as far as tire management goes. We've seen him make soft compound tires last, I believe, 15 or 16 laps already this season. And of course, racing on 50% distance of the IRL version of each given Grand Prix, I'd say that's pretty impressive. But of course, only time will tell. Mikey DeYoung not really looking to play too aggressively here, letting Cameron Lopez do what he does, but not letting him run out too far. Cameron Lopez looking to shake the toe there of the Williams, does so pretty well, as Mikey DeYoung is not able to make a move down the backstretch.
I believe what Mikey's doing is called biding time.
I believe so as well. Mikey DeYoung, the silent assassin, I mean, you never see him caught up in too much aggressive trouble. Like, he does not race that car as aggressively as you would expect for someone that's got a Williams on the podium any given week. The racecraft of this Dutch driver is just something else. However, it seems that he's got stiff competition here between Cameron Lopez, Alexis Heredia, Matthew Stotts, and Jackson Altman. Maybe even Tyler Crabtree, however, now finding himself about 6.5 seconds off of Jackson Altman. I don't think that he will be fighting for a podium position the way that I would have expected him to come the beginning of this Grand Prix. Showed plenty of pace in qualifying.
20-lap-old mediums.
Yeah, and, you know, a lot of the drivers here seeming to hang themselves out to dry to some extent.
Oh,
he will be ducking his way into the pits on those 20-lap-old mediums, and I can only imagine he'll be coming out on the softs from P7, looking to make up maybe P6, maybe P5.
With a 5-second time penalty.
That is also true, yeah. Oh, and with Boryoshi, I mean, I believe it's just a situation of what could have been for that Mercedes driver. He was fighting for the podium. Most of this race was in P2 for at least the first 12 or 13 laps, doing very well to hold his own in this race. But of course, one incident leads to another, and at that point it's like, if I'm not fighting for the win, what am I fighting for at all? An early retirement there from the Mercedes, however, would have been well into the points had he stuck around. Oh, and Alexis Heredia, with DRS assistance, getting really close to the gearbox of the Williams of Mikey DeYoung, who himself is really close to Cameron Lopez. These top three will be playing a bit of leapfrog here, as Mikey DeYoung with DRS assistance will be making the move on the inside up back into the lead of this race as they make their way across the backstretch.
Does Mikey stretch his legs here?
And this is where your comment on this race being comparable to some extent to Talladega really comes into play. Mikey DeYoung knows that he will not be holding this P1 position until the end of this race. He knows that Cameron Lopez...
Oh, Cameron's gone wide.
Oh, he's gone very wide.
On the braking.
Alexis Heredia taking the opportunity to make the move.
Just drives right in the side.
Yes, he does. Cameron Lopez reinserting himself onto track right in the way of the Ferrari, and wow, Alexis Heredia cannot catch a break this week.
Cameron's race, like, it doesn't matter if he gets penalized for his driving, because he's already champion. He doesn't care if he gets a penalty post-race for any of the incidents he's involved with. Doesn't matter.
It seems like he's going right up to the edge of what could be considered sporting behavior and what could be considered unsporting behavior. He has that's two drivers
I've seen that in a Red Bull
he's
before.
Pushed. However, he will maintain P2 for his troubles. Alexis Heredia not dropping too far behind because of it. Still right there with them. However, I think understanding the situation a little bit better. If you're going to make the move on Cameron Lopez, better make it snappy. Oh, Ferrari and the Red Bull. Oh, and Cameron Lopez going wide here. Alexis Heredia, the door is open for him once again, however, backs out, understanding the situation that he just found himself in not 45 seconds ago.
Hey, Mr. DJ Sampan, the replay. He knew it was coming, Alex.
He did. Oh, and as they cross the line here, taking lap 33 of 36 in this final Grand Prix of the 2024 ARC Formula 1 Series A season, he will be tucked in behind the Red Bull.
Oh, he's in fourth gear. He's not going to get any drive out of the
Oh,
corner.
yeah, he has dropped quite a bit there just through the
He's got
first
no
corner
ERS
or
left
two.
either. It's
Oh,
completely
no,
spent.
yes.
You'll never guess who has the most.
I believe, I mean, I did not have the telemetry up. However, I would assume that it's Mikey DeYoung. Of course it is. 56% battery charge he is sitting
The
upon.
wily
and
veteran
rising.
he is. Told
Mikey
you, just biding his time. He's got enough
See,
to just defend his position. He's in a great spot.
Yes, that's what... See, he's playing defense before he even like, he is playing defense on Cameron Lopez before he even needs to play defense on Cameron Lopez. He understands that he will be leapfrogged at least once or twice more towards the end of this Grand Prix. He is just sitting on that battery charge, and he knows that he will need all of it come the end of this race. Cameron Lopez doing well to recover
just
himself.
Throwing everything it can.
He is sitting on 0 charge, and he will need to start charging himself if he hopes to be fighting for a P2 here, as I do not believe that he's in a position to fight for the win at this point.
Mikey right here, I guarantee you see Mikey just completely let off at the end of the straight. If you have the telemetry up, you watch his throttle.
Yes, he does.
It's classic Mikey. Mikey looks at things. He's very concise and methodical in the car. He's thinking several laps ahead, and that's what separates the good from the best.
He's playing defense on Alexis Heredia.
Oh, that's good offense!
Into the rear, though, of Cameron Lopez.
Oh, Alexis Heredia!
Into the lead of this race, squirts the Ferrari of Alexis Heredia, and this will be quite a tough task for him to maintain this position on the old hard compound tires. With Mikey DeYoung, of course, the shark smelling blood in the water. Oh, and another track limits violation being assessed here to the Alfa Romeo of Logan Cool, unfortunately. I think that'll keep him out of the points. Oh, but Mikey DeYoung, just a light tap.
Penalties.
Light tap to the rear of the Red Bull, and you with DRS assistance around the outside, sweeping on the Ferrari. Back up into the lead of this race goes the Williams.
And driving like Talladega to driving like Bristol. We had a good old bump and run, Alex. I swear
Got
to
into
God.
his right rear, yeah. Well, I mean, given the track layout, it was actually his left rear, but for all intents and purposes, I mean, just about. It was an apt comparison when you shouted it out, Billy. I mean, this Talladega comparison is certainly applicable given just the situation with the layout of the DRS straights and whatnot. Mikey DeYoung now just kind of free and clear to run. I don't believe that Alexis Heredia has it in his car. He certainly has the pace, but I don't think his car has the juice left in it, so to speak, to be able to fight for the win here. Big twitch there on those old hard compound tires. Drops a slight margin to the Williams ahead of him. However, not necessarily
not good.
So as
he's
they
gonna have to do it into 4. He's gonna have to do it into 4.
He's gonna have to.
He's gonna have to make the lunge. You have to, like, I mean, going for the first win. It's the last race of the year. Full send, baby. Lick the stamp. What would Danny Rick do?
Yeah, full send for the Ferrari. You cannot settle for anything less. Mikey DeYoung really on the limit there. Wow, Bonneville.
He's not going to get him, Alex.
Quite. No, Mikey DeYoung on the corner exit of 4, perfectly executing a good getaway. And it does not look like that Alexis Heredia will have what it takes to make the pass on this Williams. Mikey DeYoung weaving his way now through Sector 2, and I believe he will be taking this one home. A big twitch there from the Ferrari. However, did not lose too much because of it. Cameron Lopez, however, dropping like a lead balloon. Now just a few car lengths ahead of his teammate Jackson Altman. Oh, and this is just things turning from okay to kind of bad for Cameron Lopez. However, does not matter, as mentioned, because he is the champion for all intents and purposes. He has already locked up the series. However, all eyes will be on Mikey DeYoung as he makes his way through the tail end of Sector 3 here on the start-finish stretch, I'm sorry. Over the line he goes, and it will be a win here in the final race of the 2024 ARC Formula 1 Series for Mikey DeYoung. Alexis Heredia holding on for P2, and wow, what a race from him. With the grid penalty at the beginning of this race for an incident that he had absolutely no part in causing. Fought his way back up 11 positions for P2. Cameron Lopez will hold on for P3 over Jackson Altman, who will take home P4. Jamie Nonk quietly racing himself quite a good race as well will take home P5. Matthew Stotts, I mean, after penalties being assessed and whatnot, will only be able to take home a P6 finish. Caden Bright, great race for him as well. P7 for the Alpine. Tyler Crabtree, of course, the early trouble, had to pit on the first lap after getting into a bit of a collision. Just ruined his race straight from the start. Will take home P8 for his troubles. Ayrton Frederick, good points finish for the Aston Martin. He'll take home P9. And I believe that was AJ Gonsalves in P10, the final point scoring position. But wow, what a race here from Mikey de Jong, of course, showing up and showing out, as he often does. Well, I shouldn't say often, because there are plenty of times when he does not show up, but certainly when he does, it is a race to behold. A win here for the Williams, the defending champion. However, he will be passing the torch to Cameron Lopez, your new crowned champion of the ARC Formula One Series here in the first segment of the 2024 season. As mentioned, we will be moving on to Series B, which will be on the new game, F1 2024, which just released today. That new season will be starting soon enough, and it will be Cameron Lopez leading the charge as defending champion into that series. But for the time being, Mike de Jong will get his time to shine, his moment in the sun, if you will, defending champion from last season. Mike de Jong takes home the win with Alexis Heredia really just showing up and showing out himself in the Ferrari. Must be a track that he favors to some extent, as he has put in quite a race holding on for P2. Even after the grid penalty, Cameron Lopez holding on for P3 after the contact that he had with the Williams. Jackson Altman, teammate, with the fastest lap, so he will also be getting an extra point holding on for P4. Jamie Knock and Matthew Stotts, P5 and 6, respectively. Caden Bright, a great race for him into the points for the Alpine team. P7 for him. Tyler Crabtree will take P8. And I'm that race was the edge of your seat type action from start to finish. We were halfway through, and it felt like I was only commentating 5 or 6 laps or so. Just so much going on. Wow, what a race, boys. I believe a few of our podium finishers are, getting the claps and high fives from their team and making their way up towards the podium and the microphone. Billy, if you want to be our resident Jensen Button and take it away.
So go to America and do a couple NASCAR races. Understood. Listen, what a race. What a way to go out. What a way to end the season, Alex. Before we get with these drivers, just want to say it was an absolutely cracking one. I think we would have had a bit of a tighter battle if we had guys just, a dog, just consistently show up. Looking at you, Mikey. So, just want to say, Alex, what a season. It's a quick one, 13 races, but what a way to end it. What a close racing. But before we do all that and get out of here, let's talk to maiden podium for the Heredia God himself. With the incident in qualifying that you had quite essentially nothing to do with, you get bumped down all the way to P13, and you claw your way back to get your maiden podium, finishing P2. Walk us through your race, man.
Oh, well, that qualifying incident was hilarious. I didn't even see him just coming on a track like that. I just ran into him. He said it was an accident. I'm not really going to report it. It's fine.
He thought he was ghosted, yeah.
Yeah, he had a drive. I was on board with him. He had a driver go through him right before you, and he was like, "All right, I'm good to go." And next thing you know, I was on his onboard, and there you are.
Yeah, but other than that, I was confident. And I know like I didn't really have much time to practice, but like just showing up, I do like this track. Brazil is probably my favorite track in the game, distance Silverstone, so I knew it would be strong. And I just followed the guy who wrecked me at qualifying up to the field, and it worked out for me, and surprisingly, uh, I was keeping up with the leaders. I was pushing hard. My ERS was terrible. My DRS was terrible, whatever it is. But uh, hopefully, if it plays out, I might sneakily get a win, maybe.
Well, I mean, you were pretty, I don't know, low key, but it was a little low key last week. Coda, you were pretty rapid, made your way through the field. So I mean, way to follow up, way to end the season. It'll be a. Let's ask a question. Are you signed for next season?
I pretty sure I am. Not sure. Got to double check on that, but pretty sure I am though.
Oh, watch this space for that, man. Congrats on your maiden podium, and what a drive, man.
Yeah, I
Thank you,
mean,
man.
just sticking it out P4 for most of the race, biding his time, watching the top three fumble the bag and make their own mistakes, and he just takes advantage. What a race, man.
Thank you.
Let's, Mikey, I haven't talked to you in a little bit, huh?
Long time no see.
Long time no see.
Mikey, that was pretty good. We saw you toying, baiting with your meal there for quite a bit. Wasn't there in qualifying, but I mean you weren't off by a whole lot. Obviously the pace is there. You just needed to get warmed up, so to speak. Uh, you rock out the end of the season with a win here. Unfortunately, man, you missed a lot of the season, and it's a season of what could have been defending that title. But I'm sure you'll be back next season. Walk us through the last race of the year and your win, man.
Well, actually, after shouting you guys something, this was
Oh,
my last race.
what?
Oh, are you retiring from ARC?
I'm retiring from F1.
Oh, okay.
What has happened?
Life.
Breaking news.
Life has happened. Mikey DeYoung
Yes,
missed a
life.
few Grand Prix this year, because of other obligations, as I mentioned in the broadcast. So, no hard feelings or anything, obviously. But, of course, Friday night is a hard night to commit to racing each given week. So, obviously that makes sense.
Yes,
Well,
and well,
For
outside
you,
of
it's
that,
Saturday morning.
I mean, it's 30 past 2, so yeah.
oh, well, what a way to go out in your last one. There's a little bit of contact there with Cam, but
Yeah, so that contact will cost me the win, so technically Heredia got the win.
well, I don't know because there was a bit of contact between Boryoshi and Cameron that's under investigation, so the penalty might actually eat.
They'll still go to Heredia.
Yeah. We shall see, of course.
Yeah, of
But either way, man,
course.
what a way to go out. I had no idea that it was that was it. Just pulled a bit of a Nico Rosberg minus the championship, but got the dub. Well, we're gonna miss you, bud.
I'm gonna miss it too. I mean, it's not only live, it's also the next year's game that is low key not the greatest. So,
I thought that was high key.
I mean, I was thinking about it, but I was like, maybe this is the time for me to quit. And I wanted to end with the high note, and this is my high note with the season. So yeah, and for this race, it was pretty good as well. Basically leading almost all race, but getting a contact with Cameron. I think it will cost me the win, but we will see that next week.
Well, it's a win in our hearts, man. Congrats on your win, and congrats on a solid career, man.
Yes, thank you, mate.
All right, Alex. Lead us off for one more time in 2023's game.
Oh, and of course, we want to thank you guys for tuning in for the last year or so of racing that we've done here on the F1 2023 version of the game. This, of course, will be the last one, as we mentioned a few times. Excuse me. We will be joining you back here, right here, same time, same place. However, we will be switching over to the new game with, I believe, a new format as well for the B season here in 2024. But of course, there are shoutouts to be made. First and foremost, we want to give a big thank you to Sim League Pro for all the work they do collaborating with ARC. All the point standings, the leaderboards, the schedules, anything ARC related for all the racing series that we run is always posted first on Sim League Pro. So if you're interested in joining any of the leagues that we're running here, make sure you check out simleaguepro.com. You will find the AutoRacingConnected Racing League pretty easily there. Just give it a shout, give it a look, and maybe you'll see something you like. If you want to join the grid, you could be here on one of these broadcasts yourself, being commentated upon. And of course, as we're firing up a new Assetto Corsa League, we want to give a big shout out to the Racing Rats, who provide free mods for Assetto Corsa for just about any situation that you may want to be racing in. Lots of free and exciting stuff there. Nothing you have to pay money for, nothing that you have to worry about. Just great content from them, and we want to thank them for their partnership. As well, we want to give a quick shout out to AJ Knickel Photography and Jason Adam web design, I believe. There's a lot of work that goes into, the social aspect of this league. A lot of the media that is produced for you guys to be able to watch and follow along with is, thanks to AJ Knickel and Jason Adam there. So we want to thank them for the work that they put into this race. Taking a quick look now. I mean, I was not told to shout this one out, but as always, we want to give a big thank you to Red Bull for the work that they put in this season. Of course, it was one race that we got with them, but just a premier sponsorship of that type to put our league on center stage and all the work that they did to make it happen. We want to thank them. What a fun Grand Prix the Canadian Grand Prix was. Race 11 out of 13 if you want to go back and watch the vlog yourself, but for now, we will be signing off, and we will be seeing you in a few weeks for the next edition of the ARC Formula 1 series. Of course, as mentioned time and again on the F1 2024 game. We will see you there, same time, same place. But until then, we want to wish you the best. Billy, you have any parting words in this season? I do not believe that he does. Okay. Alright guys, thanks of course for tuning in, and we will see you next time. As always, your host, SmugFX, signing off.